Hello, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian. And today I discuss Wil Weaton. You know, up until now, I've pretty much ignored that little troll. And I say troll in the sense that he's an internet troll. And really nothing more than that. But I think the story of Wil Weaton is more of a tragedy than anything else. That he had the potential of being so much more. And he demonstrated that he could be so much more. And he's made some really bad choices that has really hindered him. Now, of course, you've all heard recently that he left Twitter and left another social media site. And I want to discuss that today in greater detail because looking at his actions, he is a fucking coward. And I'm going to go into more detail about why I feel that way. But I'm going to start off this video with shelling myself. Shilling? Yeah, shilling. I'm going to shill myself. You know, be sure to subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment, post to all your friends online. Still try to do shows on this channel, which I love doing, but, you know, I wouldn't mind a bigger audience. Also, consider donating to my Patreon. The courses are coming. You know, I'm almost at the point of uploading them onto Udemy. So, but until that time, until that really picks up, I would like to try to get some money to get some health insurance. So maybe I can start treating my disability. So consider donating to my Patreon or get my book down below, which I'm sure the social justice warriors will use against me as to why not to listen to this video on Wil Weaton, which is How to Destroy a Woman Now, a parody of the book How to Destroy a Man Now. And if it gets popular enough, maybe we can get Amazon to take both books down. Okay, shilling is over. Let's go ahead and discuss that little fucktard known as Wil Weaton. Now, the thing about Wil Weaton that gets to me is that, of course, his only rise to stardom was Star Trek's The Next Generation. He has done some other things, but for the most part, that's all he's known for. Playing a title character, the adolescent on the show that many of us related to, that we were smart, but we lived in this world of adults who don't listen to children, who could care less about children, and we related to that character. Yeah, some people thought that he was a little too pretentious and didn't like him at all. But there are people like me who really gravitated towards him because he really represented us. And it's like, oh yeah, he's now on the bridge and he's now an officer. Woo, yeah. Then he left. And he felt at the time it was the best decision to make. And then he later regretted it. And, you know, he probably should. Wikipedia snippet says, hey, Mad Cat, A to you. Warped reflection. I've never seen the Star Trek he's in, so he's done nothing of note to me. Well, getting back to what I was saying, that, you know, he left the show and he went into obscurity until about the mid-2000s when he started to become less of an obscure name. And he started to do kind of the Comic-Con circuit. I remember before any of this really ever erupted the way it did, before Gamergate, before the gender or sexist or misogynist crap that now fills our society. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't mainstream. That I went to a Comic-Con and he was there. and he had a special event where people could go up and play Guitar Hero, and that everyone I knew idolized him. Like, yeah, he's a geek. He gets it. He's one of us. One of us. One of us. Oogle gobble. Oogle gobble. Sorry, I just can't help it. And I hear one of us, I think of that. But, you know, he was one of us. He got it. He got what we were. And he didn't just get it. He was one of us. And I remember thinking at the time, it's like, I wish I knew how to play Guitar Hero so I could go up there and play with him. I mean, I could go up there, but I would just completely suck and ruin everyone else's experience. Because if you really suck, you do really ruin everyone else's experience. So I set myself, you know, next year at this time, I'm going to be an expert at Guitar Hero so I could be up there with Wil Weaton. You know, he really tried to make himself the king of dorks, king of nerds, and we loved him for that. Wikipedia snippet. I remember Jim Parsons playing Sheldon saying Wheaton like William Shatner playing Captain Kirk said Con. Yeah, he was on The Big Bang Theory. And yeah, Wil Weaton really did play it up for laughs that he was a hated person of Star Trek and that Sheldon had a thing against him. But, you know, it's so funny that anything that Wil Weaton has been in since Star Trek, he has always played a jackass. And it's like, is this the only role he can play? Does he not try to play anything else? Or is this the only roles offered to him? It's like, yeah, you can come in there, but we're going to treat you like shit. We're going to make you an asshole. And it's like, really? He can't do anything else? Wikipedia snippet. I should have learned to play the guitar. Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. Thank you for that. So then Gamergate happened. And initially I stayed out of Gamergate because of my disability. I felt like I couldn't contribute anything because I wasn't really playing video games. And then later I got into it. But Wil Weaton, right from the beginning, he threw his fandom under the bus. All of those people who idolized him, who's wanted to have him as their king, like he's like on the inside and he knows who we are, even though all the other celebrities we idolize don't know who we are. He did. And in the moment when it was being confronted about Gamergate, he took Felicity Days. Is that right? Felicia or Felicity? He took her side and then took the side of Anita Sarkeesian and tweeted about how he wants to take out the misogyny that's trying to destroy the video game industry. And what we're dealing with today about him being coward started in this moment. Warped reflection. He can only play himself. Yeah, that's what I hear. But it was in this moment when he decided to side with the social justice warriors, when he decided to side with the feminists. He didn't even try talking to the other side. And what I think happened is that Wil Weaton knew that his celebrity status had a glass ceiling. He would only be popular to those who went to Comic-Con. He would only be popular to geeks and nerds. And that wasn't good enough for him. He wanted more. He wanted to be an A-lister, A-name lister. He wanted to be on the top. And the only way he could do that is to kiss up to those who could get it for him. People like Felicia Day. People like Anita Sarkeesian. Because Anita Sarkeesian, I mean, she got what, 600% more money than she asked for her series? She was a big name. And Not only did Weaton worship her, he wrote an article about her in Time magazine as like one of the top 100 people. I don't know if it was for the year or for the 2000s or what have you, but he wrote an article praising Anita Sarkeesian. But doing all of that, he had to throw everyone else under the bus. Wikipedia snippet. Well, Aaron Clary said Amy Schumer was actually funny before she went social justice warrior. I don't know who Aaron Clary is. So he threw his fandom under the bus. He basically called them all misogynists and that they were what was destroying the video game industry. Taking the side of, God, I can't remember her name. Not Brianna Wu, but the other one that basically started Gamergate. Maybe it was Brianna Wu. But, you know, the woman who was the target of the article about sleeping with the game journalists and to get a good review. And it's like Zoe Quinn, thank you, Warped Reflection. So he probably took her side as well. It's like, oh yeah, men are so awful. You know, they hate women in gaming, and I love women in gaming. Please make me popular. That's basically what happened. He didn't even try going to the other side. He didn't try talking to the supposed opposition. That if he actually talked to us, he would learn that it was about, what was the saying? About corruption in games journalism. Now, apparently he was like friends with Total Biscuit or whatever. I forget how Total Biscuit sided on all of this. It's hard for me to keep track of all of this. There is a restaurant chain called Five Guys. Okay. So, but he didn't really try to talk to his fan base. He just said, hey, you people are the problem. Stop being misogynists and everything can be fine. And so I keep going on this point. Let me move forward. So what he then decided is to join a block bot. And I forget her name as well, the person who basically started that, who later turned out to be a child molester, I think it was. Some woman. Anyways, he joined her block bot just so he didn't have to deal with the consequences of his actions. It was basically like the little kid who tries to pick fights with other little kids. But the moment another kid fights back, he runs behind his big brother. Oh, he's trying to beat me up. So the bigger brother steps in, and it's like, if you're going to fight him, you have to fight me. It's like, hey, that little kid instigated this. He needs to stop hiding behind his big brother and face the consequences of his actions. Wil Weaton hid behind feminism. He hid behind the skirt of Anita Sarkeesian or Felicia Day or even his wife. You know, he hid behind all of this and not dealt with the consequences of his actions. He said shit and then he blocked anyone who responded negative to him. So he could always be in a position where his opinion is shared, but he doesn't have to listen to anyone else. And that was his first act of cowardice. Now, the only problem with a block bot like this, especially if it's not one you control, is you don't really know who's going to be on that block list. And it was later revealed that many transgender people were on that list. I mean, I don't know the full extent of who these people were or why they would be on the block list. Maybe the initial person who set this up hated trans people. I don't know. But that didn't really seem to matter to Weaton. He wanted to just be a part of the mob. That if there was someone to hate, then everyone hated him, and he didn't have to listen to the other side. That he could just do things, not face consequences. He could hate people. He could destroy people's lives and never have to listen to the other side because, hey, if Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Wu, and Zoe Quinn, and my wife, and all of these other people associated in our group say that someone's bad, then I should automatically believe it, and that's it. And that's going to be funny in just a moment. Oh, okay. So Warped Reflection reveals if the trannies are followers of anyone who was blocked, it automatically blocked them. So the reason he left, and I'm going to actually read Weaton's blog post about all of this, but the reason he left Twitter is because Alex Jones, who got blocked on like YouTube and I guess from other social media sites, didn't get blocked on Twitter, which is kind of surprising given how quick Twitter was to block Milo Yiannopoulos. But they didn't block Alex Jones. Maybe Twitter's turning over a new leaf. I don't know, but he was angry about that, so he decided to leave. So Wil Weaton didn't get his way, and it wasn't good enough to just block Alex Jones. He was such a vile and violent person that he had to leave Twitter as a protest. Hey, Twitter, if you don't do what I want, you can't have me. Thinking he had an ace up his sleeve. And then goes to another social media site, which I'm forgetting at the moment, but we'll talk about when we look at his blog post. And there, he got what happened to him that has happened to so many others, especially Lacey Green. Lacey Green just wanted to talk to the opposition, wanted to see what the other side had to say, as a responsible person does. And she got chastised by the left. She basically got eaten alive by her side, the side that she's always supported, just because she wanted to talk to someone who was red-pilled. And the same thing happened to Weaton. The moment he joined that site, he was attacked because he was on a block list that blocked their protected class, which was trans people. And then he's basically saying, well, I don't want to be a part of that, so I don't want to be a part of anything. And that is why he's a fucking coward. Now, before I really lay into Joss Whedon, I want to go with his own words. Because I don't want to just be like, respond to his actions. I want to respond to his actual words. So let us go to his website. Should have uploaded that for me automatically. Alrighty. Wikipedia snippet says, this is what I like to call artificial stupidity, where algorithms make decisions no human would find sensible. It's very true. Okay, so this is wilweaton.net. And he wrote this article last week. The world is a terrible place right now, and that's largely because it is what we make it. Yes, you created this. You were part of its genesis, and now it's come to bite you in the ass. When you play with fire, you eventually get burned. I'm sure your mother should taught you not to play with matches, but you did so anyways. So let's go through this. As most of you know, I deactivated my Twitter account earlier this month. It's been a long time coming for a whole host of reasons, but Twitter's decision to be the only social network that gives Alex Jones a platform to spew hate hurt innocent people, and incite violence was the final straw for me. You know, I'm not a fan of Alex Jones. He's a bit too insane for me, but, you know, you don't silence these people. You let them speak and bury themselves. You know, you don't stop hate by censoring hate. Because all that actually does is give hate power. But I haven't regretted leaving for even 1 second. Having the endless streams of hate and anger and negativity in my pocket wasn't good for me. And I don't think it's good for anyone, to be honest. You mean the hate where you called people who played video games and supported Gamergate as being misogynists that were destroying the video game industry? Gee, I wonder why people hated you. Because you hated them first. You treated them like shit. So they treated you like shit. If you don't want people treating you like shit, then you got to stop treating other people like shit. Huh, crazy concept, I know. I was on Twitter from just about the very beginning. I think I'm in the first couple thousand accounts. I remember when it was a smallish group of people who wanted to have fun, make jokes, share information and tips on stuff that was interesting, and oh, so many pictures of our pets. It was awesome. Warped reflection. Alex is hysterical. He didn't deserve to remove from anywhere, especially when the likes of Richard Spencer still has his check mark on Twitter. It started to get toxic slowly at first, then all at once, starting with the misogynist dipshits who were behind the gate which shall not be named. Oh my fucking God, just right there, right in the beginning of your post. And you wonder why you get so many hate, and yet you do shit like that. The gate which shall not be named. You fucking asshole. You fucking coward. This was clearly a turning point for Twitter, and it never really recovered from it. I watched in real time as the site that I loved turned into a right-wing talk radio shouting match that made YouTube comments and C-SPAN call-ins seem scholarly. We tried for a couple of years to fight back, to encourage Twitter to take a stand against bad actors. Haha, like me because I'm a bad actor? Right, you got me. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, your idea was to censor anyone you didn't agree with. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of trolls on there. But, you know, you don't fight back by censoring them. You make the problem worse. It's like throwing water on a grease fire. All you do is you spread the fire around and make it worse. But your idea was, let's just block everyone that we think is toxic. You know, it's the whole idea, punch a Nazi. I'm sensing Mad Cat's on the verge of going Hulk. Oh, believe me, that's coming. What was I saying? Cat smash. Well, censorship, that's what I was talking about. You know, you want to censor anyone you don't agree with. It's like the whole punch a Nazi thing. It seems reasonable. You want to punch people who hate everyone else, the Nazis from Nazi Germany. It seems logical, but then you start calling everyone you disagree with to be a Nazi, to be men's rights, to be an alt-right. And then that way, anyone who disagrees with you is automatically a Nazi, and it's automatically okay to punch them, which is intellectually dishonest. And that's what you created. You created this mess. We did it. We were responding to how you treated us. This didn't start with just hating you. Hell, even people who didn't like you on Star Trek didn't hate you. May have disliked you, but they didn't hate you until you turned on us. We made you, and you shat in our faces. I mean, honestly, the most lucid and concise indictment I can give Twitter is it's the service that Donald Trump uses to communicate with, incite his cultists. You mean the system that President Obama used to announce his presidency and also actively used? And that Donald Trump probably started using Twitter because Obama did for his presidential campaign? President Obama seemed to get elected because he used Twitter. Maybe if I want to get elected, I should use Twitter. But no, let's attack Donald Trump in this sentence. Anyways, enough about how terrible Twitter is. We all know how terrible it is. That's never going to change, by the way. I know some very good people who are working on making Twitter better, but I honestly don't think they can overcome the institutional inertia that has allowed it to get to the point it is at now. It may get incrementally better, but the fundamental problem of random, mostly anonymous people being terrible isn't going to change, because that's not a Twitter problem. That's humanity, and specifically a social media problem. Well, maybe if you don't want it to be a problem, you should try to do something to say, hey, let me give out an olive branch. Let's try to find a way to make things peaceful. No, you coward. You hid behind a block bot. You couldn't listen to anyone who disagreed with you because they would be blocked. You insulted every person you could so you could become more popular. You're the one who started this, not us. You should have gone out there with an olive branch of saying, hey, how can we make this work again? You were in a position where you could have done so and actually listen to what the opposition had to say and try to find a common ground and try to find a way to make a peaceful solution. You didn't want to do that. Says the person who criticized a church shooting like, well, prayer didn't do anything. And then when you were chastised for that by theists, it's like, well, I wasn't meaning against religion. I'm so sorry. What did you really do to say you were sorry? Just apologize? No. You just apologized and expected everyone to just instantly forgive you. When you do something bad to someone and you want them to forgive you, you need to go the extra step to make amends. And see, that's the thing you don't want to do, is you don't want to make amends for your actions. You want to have your cake and eat it too. And now you're blaming all of humanity for the problem you created. I thought that if I left Twitter, I could find a new social network that would give it some competition. Twitter's monopoly on the social space is a big reason it can ignore people who are abused and harassed while punishing people for reporting their attackers. Oh, you mean like the person in the military who criticized, I can't remember her name, that she didn't have PTSD from being on Twitter, and that PTSD was a real thing, and that woman got that man in trouble with the military. And she suffered no consequences for her actions because someone disagreed with her that you could get PTSD on Twitter. Because when I think about the reported attacks and the abuses, those are the kind of stories I think about, and you left-leaning assholes defend shit like this. instead of, I don't know, using your brain and being like, wait a minute, you basically said you got PTSD being on Twitter. This person was in a war. How can you compare to what he has gone through? And much worse, get him in trouble for saying anything bad to a woman. And Twitter doesn't have a monopoly on the social space. I mean, there are other places like Instagram, Snapchat. What's the other? There's Facebook. There are other social media options. Yes, Twitter's the most popular, but that doesn't mean it has a monopoly. I thought I'd find something different. I thought I'd find a smaller community that was more like Twitter was way back in 2008, 2009. Cat picture, jokes, links to interesting things we found in the backwaters of the internet. Interaction with friends we just haven't met yet. What I found was not that. I found a harsh reality that I'm still trying to process. Thousands of people who don't know me, who never interacted with me, who internalized a series of lies about me, who were never willing to give me a chance. I was harassed the minute I made my account. And though I expected to shut up Wesley's and go fuck yourself to taper off after a day or so, it never did. And even though I never broke any rules on the server I joined, Mastodon is individual instances, which is like a server, which connects to the federated timeline, which is what all the other servers are. One of the admin told me that they were suspending my account because I got 60 reports overnight about my account, and they didn't want to deal with the drama. So let me get this straight. People made assumptions about you. People made assumptions about you. People attacked you based on lies and didn't take a chance to actually get to know you and reported you because of it. How does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, that's what your side does. Gee, Gamergate. Oh, they hate women because the woman over here is saying they hate women. I'm going to attack them because they're all just misogynist neckbeards. I'm going to go ahead and block them. I'm going to tell everyone I know not to listen to them. Does that sound familiar, Wil Weaton? You did the exact same thing to so many other people, but now the shoe's on the other foot, and you don't like it happening to you. As Warped Reflection says, all these people harassed him, and he never stops to think that he could be the problem. I respect and support that person's decision because it's a private server and it's run with their time, energy, attention, and presumably money. I don't agree with it all, and I think it's deeply unfair, as well as rewarding abuse of reporting system that's meant to protect users. But it's their side, it's their rules, and I can't say I blame them. The people going after me were pretty awful. And I can only imagine that an admin would get fed up with them too. So he basically shares a report of basically all of that. He's not welcome here. That's basically what he's saying. Hoping to find an alternative site to the bird site. And now he's basically admitting that he's just leaving. He actually says something about Gamergate. You mean the gate that should not be mentioned? During Gamergate, I was dogpiled and mobbed and brigaded and attacked by thousands of accounts. You mean all of those accounts that you called misogynists? that you didn't give a chance to find out who they were and you believed the lies about them? You know, the things you said that happened against you? I did not know that the block list I signed up for also had a lot of trans women on it. When I found out, I did everything I could to remove those women from the list I shared, except, you know, turn off the block list. You know, probably the best thing you could have done at that point was turn off the block list and say, I cannot support this list because it targets people unfairly. Hell, that probably would have gotten you a lot of saving grace on that. And then you just block people one by one. When there was still innocence on the list, I stopped sharing the list entirely. Sharing the list, but you're still using it, I bet. Despite this, a mob has decided that I'm anti-trans. Congratulations, Wil Weaton. Like I said, when you play with fire, you're going to get burned. And this is what happens on the left. I mentioned Lacey Green, someone who was a big, staunch reporter for the LGBTQ EIEIO. She was a big supporter for them. She was considered an expert in sex. It was the one thing she talked about the most, one thing that people hired her to talk about. And because she decided to talk to one person of the opposition, one red-pilled person, the left attacked her. Check out, see, this is my disability. I keep forgetting names. So I'm trying to remember who was the person who did the red pill film. But anyways, she was a big feminist herself before she started the red pill film. And in trying to make the red pill film, she got a lot of opposition from feminism, saying that, well, we'll give you the money to make this, but we're going to edit it. And we're going to make sure that it doesn't say anything about Cassie J. Thank you. Thank you, Wikipedia snippet. We're going to make sure it doesn't say anything bad about feminism. And then when she decided to try to get help on her own because she wanted to tell the story as it was presented to her within reality and not have any sort of political leaning one way or the other. She just wanted to report what she found and let the audience make the decision for herself. You know, honest documentary. She got criticized. She got attacked. She got told that she was never a feminist, that she hates women. This is what happens on your side, Wil Weaton. And it was only a matter of time before they attacked you. You know, had you stayed with Gamergate, had you actually talked to us and found out everything that was going on, we would never have turned on you. If you showed respect to the fandom that created you, you would still be on the top. But the side you chose, they were just waiting for an excuse to take you down. This lie that I'm anti-trans or anti-LGBTQ, anything missing from LGBTQ about anti-LGBTQ, but maybe that's a typo because he does it down below, is deeply hurtful to me. I know it's nothing like the pain that LGBTQ people deal with every day, as they simply try to exist in a world that treats them so badly, but it's still hurtful in its own way to me. Oh, well, I'm glad you put that in. That really shows that you care about them. I just want to make it clear. This is a lie, and the people spreading it are misinformed. So he's leaving. He's a well-off, well-known, well, yeah, technically he is well-known, a cis white hetero dude in America, and he's living on the lowest difficult setting. Hey, don't you use video game references anymore. You lost that privilege. So anyways, Let's continue on with this blog post. This isn't limited to Mastodon.cloud. The worst attacks and dogpiling came from a few other instances before the instances I was on became awful. And this isn't limited to Twitter.com. I see this in all online spaces all the time now. Mobs of people acting in bad faith can make people they don't know and likely will never meet miserable or even try to ruin their lives and careers. Look at what they did to James Gunn. Oh, wow. That's some real shit right there. You're admitting that the side you supported went after James Gunn, because it wasn't our side that really did that. It was yours. Well, no, technically it was Mike Cernovich, but he wasn't trying to attack James Gunn. I believe what he was doing was demonstrating that if you hate this person over here for what they've said, then you should also hate James Gunn for what he said. He was trying to make a point. His goal wasn't, I don't think his goal was to try to take down James Gunn, but correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And those mobs' bad behaviors are continually rewarded because it's honestly easier to just give them what they want. We are ceding the social space to bad people because they have the most time and the least morals and ethics and are skilled at relentlessly attacking and harassing their targets. It only takes a few seconds for one person to type "fuck off" and hit send. That person probably doesn't care and doesn't think about how their one grain of sand quickly becomes a dune and with another person buried beneath it. Oh, like how you attacked the church and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I said that in anger. How hard would it have been for you to make a tweet, reread it, and think about what it is that you were actually saying? Well, prayers don't do anything. And not think, hey, that might insult people. I'm sure you wrote that and it's like, oh yeah, this will piss off a lot of people. This will get me some media attention. And then all I have to do is apologize and I'm forgiven. That's a huge problem that seems to be baked into social media. And I tried to mitigate it with a block list that I never intended to be problematic, but ultimately was, because you're a fucking coward. You didn't want to deal with the opposition of your words. You attacked us and then went behind a block list to say, oh, I don't have to listen to you. You don't agree with me? Well, I think you're the problem, so I'm not going to listen to you. Or as Wikipedia snippet said, la, 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 I'm not listening. And for what it's worth, the part of me that wants to apologize to the people who ended up on it by mistake is overwhelmingly by the part of me who was attacked really viciously by a lot of these people and feels like maybe blocking them wasn't such a bad idea after all. Or maybe you should be apologizing. I'll wait to make that argument. Let me just go ahead and try to finish this up. Okay, so he talks about how privileged he is. He talks about how he's done with social media. Maybe I just don't fit whatever the social media world is. I mean, the people who are all over the various Mastodon instances made it really clear that I wasn't welcome there, with a handful of notable, joyful exceptions, mostly related to my first baby steps into painting. And it seems as if I was just unwelcome because I'm me, I guess. Like, I know I'm not a transphobe, but holy shit, that lie just won't die. And right now, I'm writing this, as I'm writing this, someone at Mastodon is telling me that I am because people said so, and I should apologize to them. I mean, how am I supposed to respond to that when it happened over and over and over again? You've been lied to about me. Please give me a chance just doesn't seem like a viable way forward with people who are, for whatever reason, very, very angry. And these people seem to have an idea of me in their head that doesn't fit with the idea of myself that I have in my head. It's honestly caused me to rethink a lot of stuff. Like, am I really the terrible person they say I am? I don't think I am, but I'm doing my best to listen, bullshit. And when I say, please stop yelling at me, let's have a conversation that I can grow from, bullshit, I get yelled at for tone policing. And honestly, I just get exhausted and throw up my hands. Maybe I'm not this person they tell me I am, but I represent that person in their heads and they treat me accordingly. This is one of those times. Sorry, I got distracted. This is one of those times when my mental illness makes it very hard for me to know what objective reality and what's just in my head. Hey, Sato Christ. Yeah, I've said that many times in this show. He's played with fire. I'm going to stop sharing this for one moment because it's kind of gotten to the point that I want to talk about. Gotta limber up. Okay, Weaton, here's the basic problem. One, you're a fucking coward. No, you are a motherfucking coward. You're dealt with some opposition. You are dealt with things you don't like, and you just hide. You don't deal with the consequences as they happen to you. You hide behind a block list. You decide to leave Twitter because it doesn't do what you want it to do. You then go on Mastodon, and now everyone is attacking you. It's like, I'm just going to leave. Maybe I don't deserve to be here. You know what? People like Onionson, I absolutely hate, but I respect just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because they stand by their convictions. You remember the scene in Avengers? I mean, if you're a nerd, you probably do, where Coulson is talking to Loki saying that he's going to lose because he has no conviction. That's you. You are motherfucking Loki. And I'm Agent Coulson telling you that you have no conviction. You have no backbone. I hate you. I think you're a horrible person. But if you stick to your guns and you keep fighting the fight that you set out to do, I have a little bit of respect for you. But you don't even do that. I was born in 1965. That's funny. I was born in 1980, but thank you for that. You have no conviction. When you face any opposition, you run and hide. And now, when you're dealt with what Mastodon has done to you, when it's been unfiltered, you don't have a block list to hide behind. This is what reality is. This is the world you created. And now you want to run away and hide from that. Well, maybe I just don't belong. You have no conviction. You want to change the world. You want to make it a better place. And you want all of us to make it a better place. But you don't have the balls to actually do it. Unless everyone is kissing your ass, you don't want to do anything at all. That is what makes you a coward. And, you know, up until now, I had just a teeny bit respect for you. Because at least you stood by your stance. At least you continued to fight. But you never really did. And that's when the bubble popped for me. You just kept hiding and hiding and hiding. And then when you were backed into a corner, you decided to just cry and run away and not deal with anything. I mean, I might not be anything, but at least I'm willing to stand my ground and fight. And maybe I could be easily defeated, but at least I have the conviction to stand by my morals, stand by my politics, stand by just how I feel inside. You don't. Wikipedia snippet says I'm more of a STEM nerd than a fiction one. Okay. And, you know, a lot of people come into your situation. And I mentioned Cassie J, I mentioned Lacey Green, that, you know, when they start looking into the other side and they're attacked, they have two choices. They can either double down on what they already did because that side is attacking them, or they can begin to ask, maybe the side that I've supported all these years was wrong. You chose option number 3, run and hide. Hey, this side over here that I've always supported, the Nita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn and Felicia Day and my wife, this side over here that says that everyone hates women, especially those on Gamergate, is now attacking me, saying that I am anti-trans. You know, this side that supported Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQIAEIEIO, I always have to make that joke, you know, now are saying that I'm their enemy. You know, you should have waken up from that and been like, maybe I have done some really bad thing. Maybe I should evaluate myself. And you did say that, but you didn't evaluate shit. You're like, you're just making lies about me. You did that to us. You did that to us. You threw us under the bus. We created you. And instead of looking at yourself and wondering maybe if all of this hate against you is deserved, you ran away. You are a fucking coward. You don't deserve any respect. If you apologize right now, I still wouldn't respect you because you are a coward. Everything you have ever done in your life was out of cowardice. Even leaving the next generation, that was out of cowardice. You should have stayed on that show. You would have been welcomed on that show, but it got a little too real for you, didn't it? So you left, and it was a decision that you've regretted ever since because you are a coward. You've always been a coward, and it just took until now to finally see you're a coward. I mean, most people, when they go through this, they say, hey, maybe there's an opportunity to grow here. Let's look at the other side. Are they really as bad? Because, you know, all the things that are happening to me, I did to them. I did everything that I feel is now happening to me to them. I threw them under the bus. I believed something. I was told. Maybe it had no foundation. Maybe I should take another look into this, the way Lacey Green did. And Lacey Green didn't really stop being a feminist, nor did Cassie J stop being a feminist. But they started to really question things. They started to question, well, maybe I've been back in the wrong horse all of this time. Maybe what these men's rights activists are saying, maybe what these Gamergate people are saying, maybe they're actually speaking the truth that I refuse to listen to. And it allowed them to grow. You regressed. You are still a little child. And I have no respect for that. You know, anyone that is my political enemy, I have some respect for, that they stick to their guns, that they're willing to put their money where their mouth is. They're willing to fight for what they believe in. And even when they face opposition, they continue to do so. Not you. Not you at all. You just run away and hide. I mean, what really more is there to say? when you come to two paths in the forest, one well traveled and the other least traveled, you chose to turn back and walk the way you came because you knew that that was already a safe travel. That's simply it. And, I want to read. Actually, I wanted to do this at the very beginning, and I forgot to do so. Oh well. It was from Brian Martinez about being woke. And, you're not really woke unless you've lost something, unless you have sacrificed something. And if you haven't done those things, then you're not truly woke. Many of these people who claim that they are just people jumping on the bandwagon that everyone else is doing. That's all Whedon ever did. So you are a coward. You've always been a coward. You always will be a coward. I'm going to take a quick look to see if there's anything else worth talking about on his blog post. We can look at some of the comments, I guess. So he talks about how he's done with social media. I think we already read that. Well, I guess that is the end. He's saying that he doesn't deserve to be treated so terribly by so many random people. And I guess it's interesting that he calls it random people. It's okay for him to mistreat people because he's not a random person. He signs his name to everything that he does. So it's okay to be vile to people so long as you sign your name to it. As the saying goes, I'm too old for this shit. What we call microblogging isn't worth the headache for me. Well, good riddance to you. Comments have been closed on this post. Given that there are over 400 comments on it, and a few of these were kind of interesting. A lot of them are in support, so I mean, kudos for him that he's getting support for this. But there are a few that were kind of against him. It's because you're a pretentious dick, nothing more. Your pop culture, far left attitude is toxic, and the fact that you can't just be without shoving your views into everyone's face is part of the exact problem that you blame for all of this. I'm sorry that anyone has to go through this, but blaming others for acting the same way you have is just another symptom of a larger problem. Or reflection just say, what goes around comes around, Will. I will. Hey, Will, you have blocked me on Twitter and I've never spoken to you, so likely I'm blocked the block bot that you've used. I've been snarky and even mocked you about it, but hey, maybe I'll get an opportunity now to say a few words directly to you. Sorry I made the 2 sentences about me. I actually liked your work a lot. Never saw Star Trek after the original run, so no shut up Wesley jokes from me. I guess this is actually more in support. Now this whole blockbot business, and man, do I have a novel to say about it. It never made sense to me why a person who wants to make the world a less terrible place would want to close themselves off blindly from a part of the world. Ultimately, Will, you can't trust other people to moderate your content for you. And I'll leave it at that. Again, I'm not trying to be a dick. In fact, I can see you've given it a lot of thought. reflected on some level, and maybe regret using it. Honestly, that's enough for me that you actually gave it some thought. Yeah, he gave it some thought and then tried to blame other people for it, not take responsibility for himself. All right, so that's kind of in the middle right there. Look, man, no one deserves to be treated like that, but will you please have some self awareness? I found a harsh reality that I'm still trying to process. Thousands of people who don't know me, who never interacted with me, who internalized a series of lies about me, who never who were never willing to give me a chance. Welcome to our world. We've been doing we've been doing this to us. Oh, you've been doing this to us. I really struggle to stay neutral and kind on this because I honestly believe that no one deserves to have this kind of stuff happen to them, but you're making it really difficult for me, Will. You would make it a whole lot easier on yourself if you just own up to the consequences of your own actions. You'd be surprised how many people would be willing to accept you if you just acknowledge what you did. And he's perfectly correct. I mean, I won't because he's shown himself to be a coward, that any opposition he faces, he'll run away and hide. But had he walked away from this experience and it's like, you know what? I think I probably have done a lot of bad things to people. And now that it's happened to me, I guess it's made me more humble. And I want to apologize to anyone that I've may have ever hurt for any lie that I believed because I thought it came from a trusted source. If he had fallen on his sword, oh my God, we would have been supporting him. We may not have trusted him at first, but we would have shown him a lot of support. Well, I don't think you deserve it. I have to say, I'm not sorry about it happening. You actively supported harassment and banning of people you didn't agree with. So when the same people you associated with and helped came for you, I would say it was poetic justice. Let's see. Hello, Will. I'm not here to rub salt in the wound, but I would like to take this time as a moment of introspection on the treatment of other people on social media, in particular, your own treatment of other people on social media. You see, that feeling you've experienced of being misrepresented, accused, even judged based on things entirely attributed to things other people said about you is exactly what many people feel every single day on these social media sites. Like for you, like for instance, Randy Harper's block list on Twitter. That's who I was thinking of, Randy Harper, which is a block list that you subscribe to. Every person on that block list was really only a terrible person because the block list said they were. Yeah, pretty much. But the block list aside, let's instead look at the people who were suspended from Twitter every day. Most of them suspended for really no worse reason than what has happened to you. Lots of people get angry about something they said and start flagging their content until they are gone. Nothing in the past you've said. Now, in the past, you've said that this is right, just righteous vengeance for hateful and bigoted things. However, as you have seen, hateful and bigoted are emotional concepts that can be applied to everyone, even you. I don't want the takeaway from this to be that you're a terrible or hateful person. I want the takeaway to be this is you to this to be you reconsidering if you still agree with the practices and methods of censorship and deplatformation. I can't speak anymore. Now is the best time to consider it, as you know firsthand how terrible it is to feel to be labeled and ostracized for reasons beyond your control. I think we could start being nicer to each other if we can agree that everyone deserves a voice or at least a chance to explain themselves. And that's very true right there. And if Wil Weaton could grow up a little bit and let his testicles descend and see that, then, maybe the world can be a better place. But too many people on the left are of the opinion that they can just hate the people they think are bigots, not give them a voice, because to give them a voice is to give them power. No, censoring someone is to give them power, because all you do is make them a victim. I've probably said the name Alex Jones more in the last week than I have in the last year. I really don't pay attention to Alex Jones. He's a crazy batshit person over here. But now that he's been blocked, he's getting his name mentioned. Look at Milo Yiannopoulos. He gets banned on Twitter. He's still on the top of the world. He still has a very successful career being online. The worst thing you can do is block someone. I'm not going to read the rest of these. I think that last one was pretty good. Stop sharing. Wikipedia Snipper says, snipper. I can't blame a person for repressing the memory of Randy Harper. Ooh, so I'd like to hear what everyone's thoughts are on Weaton. Either post it in the chat on the side or down below. But it's like I said, there is no saving grace for him anymore. The bubble that was Wil Weaton has been popped for me, and I now see him for everything that he is, everything that he'll ever be. He's just a coward. He runs away and hides when anything gets real. He wants to make comments and then hide behind whoever he can to not face the consequences of his actions. When you speak, there's always going to be a consequence. But the freedom of speech doesn't protect you from consequence. It tells you that you have the freedom to make whatever speech you want to, and others have the freedom to do so as well. And it's not truly practicing freedom of speech if you try to limit other people, including a block bot. That's all that block bot was. You running away. You deciding to get off Twitter was you running away. You stop using Mastodon is you running away. Because you don't want to deal with the consequences that years of abuse that you've given to your fan base, the fan base that created you. You don't want to deal with that consequence. Well, that's fine. But I don't have to respect you. I don't have to see you as anything more than the coward you are. And that's my freedom. So I'll stay a few more minutes. Tell me what you think about Wil Weaton. Do you think that there's any chance that he can be redeemed? What does he have to do for him to be forgiven? Or are you on my side that all of this has shown that he's a piece of shit? He always was, he always will be. And that he only cared about numero uno, and he's never really given two fucks about anyone else unless they could help make him popular. I mean, remember, he wrote an article in Time magazine about Anita Sarkeesian. I mean, talk about being associated with people. And we're talking about a woman who has never delivered on the content that she has promised. You know, she made a Kickstarter and she made a lot of promises on that she's never fulfilled. I made an Indiegogo, and you better believe I have followed through on those promises. I made a calendar. I sent that calendar out to people. Is that the kind of people? Is that the kind of person you want to be associated with? A con artist? Because that's who you are associated with. Warped Reflection. From all I've heard about him, he's a piece of shit. Well, as I think Wikipedia snippet said before, or maybe it was you, it was him playing characters that were always assholes. He auditioned to play himself. The roles he played was himself. I mean, I was watching until I got bored the hell out of it. Eureka, which he was in that quite a bit. And my God, he was such a asshole. I mean, he didn't have any redeeming qualities. And in my opinion, that's just bad writing and bad acting. You know, it's like they hired him. It's like, we're going to make you the villain all the time. You're not going to have any redeeming qualities. And he's so hurt for work that he went ahead and said, okay. He didn't try to demand. It's like, you know, give me something. Give me something that people can relate to. But no. Santa Chris, good to see you. He's a bit of a jerk. Eureka had the guy who played Max Headroom. Who was that? I know who Max Headroom is, but I don't remember who played him. Looking something up right now, which I think will be a perfect end to this video. So there's a quote from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which I think kind of really matches Wil Weaton and his dedication to the left. Cameron has never been in love. At least no one's ever been in love with him. If things don't change for him, he's going to marry the first girl who he lays, and she's going to treat him like shit. Now, I'm not saying that Wil Weaton's wife treats him like shit. I don't know her at all. I don't know anything about her. I have met her in person once. I know I keep saying that, but you know, we didn't exactly discuss politics. We discussed a lot of other things. But again, this she being married to, I'm talking about the left. Because she will have given him what he's built up in his mind as the end all be all of human existence. She won't respect him because you can't respect someone who kisses your ass. It just doesn't work. And that's basically it. Wil Weaton has the only thing that Wil Weaton has ever really done is kiss up to the left, kiss up to those who found power because he wanted power for himself. And in the end, they don't respect him because, as it said in Ferris Bueller, you can't respect someone who kisses your ass. All right, so that's going to do it for me today. I thank everyone for coming out. Please share this video around because, well, one, I could use the attention. I'm a whore like that. But I feel very passionate about this. I feel very strong about this. I mean, Wil Weaton has done a lot of bad things in his life. None more great, more atrocious than throwing the fandom under the bus that created him because he thought he could do better. And now he realized he couldn't. But worst of all is just how much of a coward he is. It's one thing to admit when you're wrong, and that's a sign of strength. It's another thing to stick to your guns, to double down because you've believed in it for so long that you're not ready to let go. There's a certain strength in that too. And no matter what opposition you deal with, you fight for what you believe in. But to just altogether run away, to say, maybe I don't belong here, so I'm not, that's just the ultimate act of cowardice, in my opinion. And there is no coming back from that. Wikipedia snippet. Only time will tell. My experience, most people don't change. Change has to come from somewhere deep inside. Change is not that common, but it can happen. But it has to be because a person wants to change. It's like I always say, you can lead a horse to water. You can force the horse's head underwater, but you still can't make them drink. So that's going to do it for me today. Check out my stuff down below. I'm still collecting money for my Patreon. I'm hoping maybe one of these days I can close my Patreon because I make enough doing my courses on like Udemy, which hopefully this month will be uploaded, that I don't need it. But until that time, I'm going to need a little help because I want to get health insurance. And right now, the money does help pay for some day-to-day things. So I thank the people who donate to it and have donated in the past, but I could still use a little help. Even $1 makes a big difference in my life. If you don't want to do that, check out my PayPal below that. And if you don't want to do either of those, then buy my book, How to Destroy a Woman Now. And I thank people who have bought that because every now and then I get an email from Amazon saying, hey, we're going to send you some money. And it's like I get $18 here, $18 there. And I'm like, this is wonderful. Being able to get money for being a writer, that's just such a great joy. So I don't know who buys it. That's the only thing. So in many ways, it's anonymous. If you buy my book, I don't know that you have bought my book. Anyways, thank you, Warped Reflections, Wikipedia. I cannot say your name. Wikipedia Snippet, and Sadochrist. I hope you all have a good day. And this is Mad Cat signing off.